Have you ever felt like your mind was running faster than your body could follow? As if you were caught in a silent storm, a swirling chaos of what-ifs and invisible fears pressing in from every direction? Anxiety doesn't always come in loud crashes. Sometimes it whispers. It whispers that you're falling behind, that something bad is coming, that if you stop even for a second, everything might fall apart. And so we tighten, we push, we pretend. But deep down, we're just trying not to drown. Now what if I told you, 2,500 years ago, a man sat beneath a tree and saw through it all. He didn't run from suffering. He didn't numb it or silence it. He understood it. He discovered that the way we relate to our pain, not the pain itself, is what binds us. And he left behind a path, not of escape, but of deep inner freedom. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share a single thought from this ancient path. One that doesn't erase your anxiety, but completely transforms how you carry it. By the end of this journey, you may not silence the storm, but you'll no longer fear it. You'll have something far greater than calm. You'll have clarity, stillness, power. So take a breath with me, a real one. And let's begin. Anxiety often feels like something that happens to us, doesn't it? Like an external force, suddenly crashing into our lives and throwing everything off balance. It feels like it's out of our control, like we're just helpless in the face of it. But what if I told you that the root of suffering, including anxiety, isn't something that comes from outside? What if it's something we create within ourselves? In Buddhism, suffering is seen not as an attack from the outside world, but as something that rises from the way we relate to it. The Buddha taught that our suffering comes from clinging, holding on tightly to things, ideas, people, and even our own identity. We want things to stay just the way we think they should be. We want people to always approve of us. We want life to be predictable, safe, and within our control. But life doesn't work that way, does it? The world changes constantly. People change, situations shift, and when they do, when things slip away from our grasp, that's when anxiety steps in. It's like standing on unstable ground, trying to balance. Do you remember a time when you felt anxious just because things weren't going your way? Maybe it was when someone didn't like you, or when your plans fell apart. That's exactly what the Buddha meant when he said, "You suffer because you believe their opinion is who you are." Anxiety grows when we build our peace on shaky ground. So, how do we find solid ground in a world that's always shifting? The first step is recognizing what holds us in place, the attachments that keep us locked in fear. By understanding this, we can begin to free ourselves from the weight of it all. There's a word the Buddha used, tanha. It means thirst or craving. It's that constant, restless need for things to go our way. We crave comfort, crave safety, crave certainty. We want life to be predictable, easy, and controlled. But when life refuses to obey us, we panic. Anxiety creeps in when we feel like we're losing grip. And let's be honest, in today's world, it's only worse. Everything around us, social media, ads, even the content we consume about self-improvement, stirs up more craving. We've been taught to chase after more, better, faster. But here's the truth. Everything we crave will eventually change. A job, a relationship, even your own sense of self. So if your peace depends on something that's unstable, guess what? Your anxiety is just a step away. Imagine trying to hold on to water by squeezing your fist. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. That's what clinging to control feels like. The more we try to make everything stay the same, the more we create stress, because we can't stop change. The freedom we're looking for doesn't come from locking life into a box. It doesn't come from holding tighter. It comes from learning how to let go. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Let go of the illusion that peace can be found in certainty. So ask yourself, what would happen if you started letting go of the need to have everything under control? What if you could start embracing life as it comes, without trying to hold it all together? One of the most liberating truths in Buddhism is this: nothing lasts. And that's not something to fear. It's the very reason we can finally breathe. We suffer because we believe that joy should last forever, and pain should disappear in an instant. But in reality, everything in life comes and goes, even this moment. Even this feeling, even the anxiety you're feeling right now. Think about the seasons. You don't blame winter for being cold or cling to spring for its flowers. You simply let them pass, knowing that they are just part of the cycle. This is what impermanence teaches us. We don't need to fight every thought, every fear that arises. We don't need to wrestle with every emotion or try to control it. We simply need to stop building our lives around them. We often treat each moment as if it will last forever, whether it's a moment of happiness or a moment of discomfort. But the truth is, this moment is not forever, and neither is the storm inside your mind. So, what would happen if you stopped holding on so tightly? What if you allowed yourself to experience life without trying to force it to stay? What if, instead of fighting your anxiety, you just let it come and go, like a cloud passing through the sky? This is the freedom of impermanence, the understanding that everything, good or bad, will pass. And with that understanding, we can finally find peace, knowing that nothing is permanent, and that we are not bound to anything that passes through our minds. What if your anxiety isn't trying to destroy you? What if it's trying to show you something? Anxiety often arrives when we're holding on too tightly to something. A plan that must succeed, a person we fear losing, an outcome we believe we can't live without. Instead of listening to what anxiety is trying to tell us, we push it away. We fight it, ignore it, or panic at the thought of it. We see it as the enemy, something we must escape from at all costs. But what if we stopped running? A student once came to the Buddha and said, "I am overwhelmed by fear." The Buddha calmly replied, "Sit with it, watch it, let it speak, but do not let it command you." That's the key. You are not your anxiety. You are the space around it. You are the observer. Imagine anxiety as a visitor, not an invader. Instead of reacting in fear, you simply notice it. You don't need to fix it or force it to disappear. Just watch it, like a cloud passing through the sky. It's there, and then it's not. This shift from being a victim of your thoughts to becoming the observer changes everything. When you realize you're not defined by your feelings, you start to reclaim your power. You stop being at war with your mind, and instead, you learn to coexist with it, peacefully. So, next time anxiety comes knocking, try sitting with it. What is it really trying to reveal to you? If anxiety is rooted in the future, then peace lives in the present. Mindfulness is the simple practice of bringing yourself back to this moment, again and again. It's not about escaping the chaos, but about finding the stillness right where you are. You don't need to sit in meditation for an hour to feel the benefits. You can start small, like this. Feel the warmth of your tea, the steam rising from the cup, the comfort in your hands. Notice your breath moving in and out, steady and constant, like the tide coming in and going out. Listen to the sound of the wind outside your window, gentle, persistent, and free. Even something as simple as washing the dishes can become a sacred act when you do it with full awareness. Each dish you wash, each movement, is a chance to return to the present. There's a Zen saying that goes, "When you walk, walk. When you eat, eat." The point isn't to stop your thoughts. It's to stop believing every thought as if it's the truth. Mindfulness is about creating space between you and your thoughts. It's about pausing, breathing, and then choosing how you respond, rather than reacting automatically. And that's where your power lies. Imagine if you could meet each moment like this with full presence, not chasing the past or worrying about the future, but living right here, right now. That's the gift mindfulness gives you, the power to be free, even in the middle of life's chaos. There's an image I love. Your thoughts are like clouds. You are the sky. When anxiety rises, it can feel like a storm inside you. But here's the key. Don't panic. Don't fight it. Just observe. There's fear here. There's worry. There's tightness in my chest. Simply name it. Acknowledge it. Watch it pass by. You don't need to chase the clouds away. They'll move on when they're ready. You just need to remember, the clouds are not the sky. This is the essence of non-judgmental awareness. It's the ability to see your thoughts and feelings without attaching to them, without labeling them as good or bad. Just noticing them, letting them come and letting them go. There's no shame in feeling anxious. There's no need to resist the discomfort. There's just space. And that space is where healing happens. When you create space around your emotions, instead of being swallowed by them, you regain your power. You stop identifying with your anxiety. You realize that you are not your thoughts. So the next time anxiety comes to visit, try this. Instead of reacting, simply observe. Let it rise and let it pass. Allow yourself to feel it, but don't let it define you. You are the sky, vast, open, and capable of holding everything that comes and goes. Many of us carry both anxiety and guilt at the same time. We ask ourselves, why can't I just be calm? Why do I always feel this way? We push ourselves to be better, to be stronger, but the harder we try, the heavier it feels. We forget that sometimes the path to peace isn't about fixing everything. It's about embracing where we are. The Buddha taught that compassion is the key to transformation, not perfection. True healing doesn't start by demanding that we be flawless or free from pain. It starts when we stop trying to fix ourselves and instead begin to listen to ourselves, to our feelings, and to our struggles. When anxiety knocks, speak to yourself kindly, just as you would comfort a friend. It's okay to feel this. You're doing your best. Let's breathe through this together. These simple words can soften the storm inside. Self-compassion isn't weakness. It's not about letting ourselves off the hook or avoiding change. It's about having the courage to face ourselves, just as we are, without judgment. Think of self-compassion as a warm embrace. It's the gentle reminder that you are enough, even when you don't feel like it. And in that embrace, you begin to find the space to heal. True strength lies in this vulnerability. The courage to acknowledge our pain and treat ourselves with the same kindness we offer others. When you start practicing self-compassion, you unlock the power to transform your anxiety from a burden into a teacher. Because in the end, healing comes from loving yourself through it all. Let me tell you about Maya. She was a single mom, recently laid off. Bills were piling up, and every morning, before she even got out of bed, her chest felt tight, like a weight she couldn't shake. The anxiety was there, heavy and suffocating. One day, she stumbled upon a podcast that introduced her to Buddhist mindfulness. It wasn't a magic fix. Nothing changed overnight. But she started small. Each morning, she took just 5 minutes of silence, breathing deeply, allowing herself to feel what she was feeling, without judgment. Each night before bed, she wrote one simple sentence in her journal: "This moment is not forever." At first, it was hard. Her mind would race with all the things she had to do, all the fears that seemed too big to handle. But instead of fighting her anxiety, she began meeting it with breath and presence. She didn't try to push it away or make it disappear. She just let it be, like a passing cloud in the sky. And slowly, everything shifted. She still had problems. The bills were still there. The uncertainty was still looming, but she wasn't drowning in them anymore. She was floating, aware, alive, and most of all, free. What if the answer isn't to escape our problems, but to shift how we face them? What if freedom is found not by controlling everything, but by accepting the flow of life, one breath at a time? Maya learned that peace comes when you stop resisting and start allowing. And in that space, she found her strength. Here's how you can begin today. Start with mindful mornings. Just take 3-5 minutes when you wake up. Don't worry about clearing your mind. Simply focus on your breath. Inhale, exhale. Let the rhythm of your breath ground you in the present before the noise of the day begins. Next, create awareness anchors. These are small reminders that keep you connected to the present. It could be a stone in your pocket, a simple phrase on your desk, anything that says, "Return to now." Every time you see it, take a moment to breathe and come back to the present. When life feels overwhelming, try compassion check-ins. Pause. Instead of harshly judging yourself for feeling stressed, speak gently to yourself. "It's okay to feel this," you might say. "I'm doing the best I can." This small act of kindness towards yourself can soften the tension and remind you that it's okay not to be perfect. Lastly, practice sacred slowness. Turn ordinary tasks into moments of mindfulness. When you brush your teeth, feel the bristles on your teeth. When you walk to the store, notice the rhythm of your steps. By bringing awareness to everyday actions, you begin to slow down your mind and center yourself in the present moment. You don't need to completely change your life. You just need to change how you live it. Small moments of mindfulness add up to something much bigger, a life that's more peaceful, grounded, and in the now. What would happen if you started living with these small practices? How would your mind begin to shift? If you remember nothing else, remember this. Nothing is permanent. Not your pain, not your fear, not your anxious thoughts. They come, they go, they return, and they go again. This is the nature of the mind, constantly shifting like waves on the surface of a lake. And when you stop clinging to every thought, every feeling, every moment, the mind becomes still. It's like a lake that no longer ripples with the wind. This truth, so simple yet so powerful, has the ability to destroy anxiety at its root. Because anxiety grows when we hold on to it, when we try to control it, when we believe that every moment of discomfort is a permanent part of who we are. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you allowed your thoughts and emotions to come and go without grasping onto them? When you stop fighting, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Peace, not the kind of peace that comes from everything being perfect, but the kind of peace that comes from allowing life to unfold as it is. You discover the quiet strength that has been there all along, hidden in plain sight. So the next time anxiety rises, remember, this too shall pass. And when you stop trying to control every moment, you'll find the stillness that has always been waiting for you. We've walked through ancient teachings today, not as abstract philosophy, but as practical wisdom that can guide you in your daily life. Remember, anxiety doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're human. And Buddhism teaches us that even the most chaotic mind can return to stillness when we stop fighting it. So, let go of clinging, embrace impermanence. Watch your thoughts as they come and go. Return to your breath whenever you feel lost. And above all, be kind to yourself. If this message has touched your heart, share it. Let someone else know they're not alone in their struggle. Together, we can all find the peace we're looking for. And if you want more teachings like this, subscribe to this channel. We'll continue to explore mindful practices, guided meditations, and the wisdom that helps us walk through life with grace and peace. Until next time, may you breathe with ease. May your thoughts pass like clouds. And may your heart remember this. You are never the storm, you are the sky. Thank you for being here. You are not alone.